Hey, Soul Tribe. Mel, Intuitive Coach here, excited to bring in your Soul Saturday session. If you enjoyed today's content, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you have a burning question regarding your personal or professional life or even the world at large, please drop it in the comment section below. I may answer your question in an upcoming collective video. All right, Soul Tribe, today we're going to tap into a numerology concept called personal year numbers. What is a personal year number? Why is it important to know this? And what is your number? I'll help you calculate it, and then we'll take a look at what the energies mean for you in 2025. So chances are you've heard of numerology. And just like tarot or astrology or human design or any other spiritual tool, this can give you insight into your divine blueprint. It can help you understand the themes and the energies that are playing out in your specific year. So we calculate this by taking the current year, 2025 is a 9, and we add our birth day and month. So for example, I was born on October 21st. So I would break down the 10 into a 1, the 21 into a 3, and 2025 is a 9 year. So when you add up all of those numbers and break it down into a single digit, I am in a personal year number 4. So by knowing this information, you can take a look at the themes and the energies, like I mentioned, but it's beautiful for the current year, but also if you tend to look back on prior years, you may see the parallel. You may see how those themes have played out for you. So for example, if you've gone through a divorce in 2021, you may look back and you may have been in a 2 or even a 6 personal year. So you may see some parallels. So I always say, don't just look at the personal year number you are in, because it can be beneficial to understand the past lessons and opportunities, but you can also use it for the future. So for example, if you know that you will be in a 5 personal year in 2027, the 5 energy is all about freedom and expansion and change, and it would be a really great year for travel or to relocate across the continent. It's a great year for, financial freedom as well. So I feel like by you having this information, by you having this insight, it can give you that extra layer of knowledge and understanding. And I'm a huge advocate of spiritual growth. So the more tools for me, the better. And this is just another tool that you can add to your spiritual toolbox. So now that you have calculated your personal year number, let's dive into each number. Now they go through 9-year cycles, beginning with 1 and ending at 9. And then we roll back into a new 1 through 9 year cycle, at least in this concept. Now, for those of you that are in a personal year number 1, just like in tarot, the aces represent new beginnings. So this is a year of independence, initiation, fresh starts, and even leadership. So for those of you that are in a 1 personal year, the challenges in 2025 can sometimes be isolating or lonely, right? It can be a lonely energy because ones can be more solitude. This can be a year of self-doubt at times as you embrace this next 9-year cycle. But it is about planting the seeds. And sometimes you can feel pressure, right? Pressure to act, pressure to move forward. And the number 1 year here is all about pioneering. It's time to plant the seeds, launch projects, take control, feel empowered, and really take control of your destiny, right? Because it's in your hands this year for you. And you may feel called to act solo or step into leadership roles. While there may be uncertainty, this year favors those who are decisive, those who are brave, those who are willing to step courageously into, a new path. So watch out for impatience, impulsiveness, and fear of the unknown. Lean into confidence. Feel confidence as you take action. Personal growth and goal setting is highly favorable for those of you in a one personal year. All right, for those of you in a personal year number 2, this is a year of harmony, of partnership. When you think of the twos in tarot, the Two of Cups can be union, important partnerships coming together. But it's also a year of choice. Sometimes you may be juggling up more than one thing this year. So there's themes around cooperation, relationships, and patience, as well as sensitivity, because you can feel pulled in more than one direction as you're trying to find balance this year. Now, the challenges may be around indecision, right? That's a no-brainer when it comes to making choices. Sometimes we're unsure of the choices that are in our highest good. So for those of you in a 2 personal year, it can feel emotionally overwhelming at times, and there can even be themes around codependency. Now, the opportunities for those of you in a 2 year are all about deep connections, right? Lifelong bonds and partnerships. This can also be collaborations with colleagues, with friends. You may be deepening commitments. And for those of you that have outgrown relationship dynamics, you may also see a separation occurring. Now, this is also a year of intuitive development. It's a really good time to embrace the masculine and the feminine within yourself. So if you've been leaning too far into, say, your masculine, this is a good year to kind of rein it in and find balance between both the masculine and the feminine, especially that divine feminine, because the emotions are kicking up a little bit more in your 2 year. Now, this is a gentle, slower pace year, especially after more of your fast-paced 1 personal year prior. And this is about nurturing relationships again, cultivating balance. It's not the time to rush rather than, align. It's about alignment, not rushing. And it's a time to create harmony and trust in divine timing. And that can be difficult for all of us, depending, not just because we're in a 2 year. I mean, that can be any year, of course. So do watch out for oversensitivity, people pleasing, fear of confrontation, right? Because we come together sometimes and it can be challenging energies that we are forced to face in a 2 year. Now lean into diplomacy, emotional intelligence, and intuitive wisdom, because like I said, your intuition is called to bring balance back into your life and harmony and make choices that are aligned with your highest self, even if those choices are difficult. All right, so for those of you in a 3 personal year, this is the year of creativity and self-expression. Think of the Empress, right? The Empress is creative, she's nurturing, she's loving, she's joyful. And so the themes are around communication and artistry, as well as socializing and joy and fun and magic. Think of the 3 of Cups, a time for celebration with the people that support you and the people that you support as well. Now, challenges can be scattered energy. You may feel like you're being pulled in all different directions, or you may feel like you have many things up in the air that you're trying to nurture or that you are trying to bring to fruition, right? Bring to life. Now, there can also be avoidance this year at times, like avoiding crowds or avoiding people, because we tend to go inward at times, especially if we've been hurt. We tend to shut down those creative parts of ourselves, or we tend to shut down the heart center. And this can also be a year of superficiality here, where it's important to build bonds that are based on, emotional depth, not just superficial or surface. Now, the opportunities here for you in a 3 year have to do with breakthroughs and creative breakthroughs at that. If you've been wanting to write that book, or if you've been wanting to redesign a website or build a business, or if you've been wanting to focus on your home, it'd be a really great year for some home improvements and to get creative with your interior design, maybe do some painting, but also to take a look at your own self-image. For some of you, are you feeling good about where you are at, both physically, emotionally, mentally? And some of you may be changing up your appearance, changing your hair, changing your style. Also, some of you may get tattoos in a 3 personal year. So this is your permission slip to play, to create, to dance, to sing, to go jump in puddles, to go mini golfing, to go to Disneyland. Do something fun this year. Create and express yourself, whether through writing, speaking, or art. We are all artists. And I've had people say, Mel, I don't have a creative bone, or I'm not a creator, I'm not an artist, but you really are. We're constantly creating and manifesting our reality. Now, your voice wants to be heard this year for those in a personal year number 3. It's time to perhaps expand your social circles and have fun. Let fun be your medicine. Laughter is healing. Fun is healing. So for those of you in a 3 year, lean into authentic expression, play and network. Put yourself out there. If you've been hermiting, it's extra important to socialize, meet new people, start dating, whatever it is that brings you joy and pleasure. Now watch out for drama. Watch out for drama, because 3 can be a crowd sometimes. 3 of Swords. There can be pain. There can be other people involved. Now, this can also be procrastination, can be part of the 3 year, but then also on the flip side of that, you can feel burnt out from overcommitting, because there may be a lot of activities. You may have wedding after wedding, you may have, graduations, and you may have a lot going on. So make sure that you don't get burnt out by everything that is showing up for you in your 3 year. All right. For those of you in a 4 personal year, this year is about foundation and discipline. So there's themes this year around stability, structure, work, and responsibility. So for those of you that are in a 4 year, the challenges can be burnout, because workaholism can really take over this year. So you don't want to get burnt out by overcommitting, overworking, overthinking the mind. Think of the 4 of Swords. And then also the Emperor is the 4 in tarot, right? So it can be a very action, very disciplined, very structured, very organized energy. And you may feel frustrated at times when progress is slow or it's not turning out in the way that you had intended. And the opportunities this year are for you to build long-term success. All right. I'm talking past just this 9-year cycle. This long-term success flows into retirement. It can be, long-term goals of, saving up for a home or saving up for something that you really want in your life. It's really about you building long-term success, organizing your life. You're going to want to be organized this year. Otherwise, it can feel like a scattered, clustered, and you can feel like a chicken with your head cut off. So you want to master discipline, okay? Master discipline. If you want to get back on a healthy diet or routine, self-control and discipline is going to be your best friend. If you want to build a sustainable business, you got to put in the work this year. And I feel like you are cementing in the legs of a table, right? Think of the legs of a table. There's 4 legs. And if one of those legs are wobbly, this is the year for you to fix it. You go in there and you're addressing the cracks in the foundation. So if anything has been built on a faulty foundation, it's either going to fall apart this year, all right? It's going to need restructuring or rebuilding, or you are going to cement something in. You're going to fix the cracks and you're going to address it and you're going to take it all the way. So for those of you in a 4 year, You're asked to lay down bricks, right? Solid foundations in your career, your home, and your habits. It might feel less exciting this year, especially coming out of your 3 year, if you had a lot going on that really opened up your creativity a little bit more. So this is a year that's incredibly productive when it comes to your goals. Now, security and sustainability become your goals this year. So watch out for perfectionism, fear of change, and overworking, and lean into planning. Plan things out so you feel more prepared, so you feel more organized. This is also a year of patience. Be patient this year, as your hard work will pay off, and also take practical steps. So this is a year where you are being practical, all right? I feel like you're not being irrational or impulsive, or at least try not to. You want to take practical steps, and it always brings me back to that Lao Tzu saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So don't rush the process in your 4 year. For those of you that are in a 5 personal year, this is a year of change, a year of freedom. So the theme lies around adventure, flexibility, change, and freedom, liberation. So you may feel challenging at times when there's a sense of restlessness. Okay, you may feel a bit restless because you're itching for change, and if change isn't coming in for you, you may feel like you're very restless, you're scattered. It can even bring about a sense of irresponsibility, as we tend to be at times a little impulsive in our 5 year, because the opportunities here lie within personal freedom, transformation, and unexpected blessings. So when we think of the 5 in tarot, 5s can often get a bad rap, right? Because it's an odd number, and it also brings conflict at times. It can bring, again, scattered energy. Like we just feel like we're running around. We're not quite sure what's happening here. And this is all about shifts. This year, things are shifting massively for you. This is the year where one could be moving across the continent or going backpacking across Europe. You may fall in love and get married. You may separate from an energy that you were connected to for quite some time. I mean, this is a year where anything is possible. So you're really going to want to be adaptable and flexible this year, because it's a wild card year. You don't know what you're going to get. Think of the Wheel of Fortune in a sense. This year encourages spontaneity as well as adaptability, right? Try not to set an expectation too much this year, because anything can shift on a dime. Now, you may travel more, change careers, or undergo internal shifts as well. A lot of you are wanting to shake things up in your 5 year. So it can be personal choices that you make, but it can also be things that are out of your control. Tower moments. A lot of tower moments tend to come in, but a lot of Wheel of Fortune moments tend to come in a 5 year. So watch out for escapism. Watch out for impulsive choices and, again, drama. Now lean into embracing change, calculated risks, as well as personal liberation. What frees your soul? So that gypsy soul is activated this year for you. So remember that you have wings. It's time to fly. All right, for those of you in a personal year number 6, this is the year of love. It's the year of responsibility as well. Think of the Lovers in tarot. You may have some choices around family, around service, healing, love, and harmony. Now, some of these choices land in your, house of love and commitment, partnerships. This could be a year where you get married, a year where you get divorced. This can also be a challenging year if you are an overgiver. This can be a year that sometimes we avoid our own personal needs at the expense of others, especially family or children or loved ones. Or maybe it's a year where we take care of family who's ill, or financially we may be supporting someone. They may need to crash on your couch for a while, or there's just, something that's responsible, that has to do with the heart. Now, the opportunities though this year are exponential when it comes to activating that heart chakra. So that it can be heart chakra healing on a massive level. It can be community connection and relationship growth. Even if that relationship growth is taking a turn, this is going to activate your heart in one way or another in your 6th year. So watch out for over responsibility, right? Taking on other people's burdens, taking on other people's stuff. Watch out for resentment, because resentment can breed when we are overgiving or we feel like we are being taken advantage of. So find balance in relationships this year. Now lean into compassion, self-care, self-love, and boundaries. Boundaries are going to be your best friend this year, because sometimes the heart, right? We can lose ourselves in the service of others or lose ourselves in the responsibility of others. So you want to find that balance between someone else's space and yours, right? This is my dance space. This is yours. So for those of you in a 7 personal year, a 7 is a very spiritual number. It is a number of inner work, right? And spirituality. So the theme around your 7 year can be about study. It can be about solitude, introspection, spiritual depth. When we think of the 7 in tarot, the 7 of Pentacles, right? It's about pause, stopping, smelling the roses. So it's a deep year of spiritual introspection to kind of check in with our soul selves. And if you've been lacking motivation, or it feels like that's been a challenge, I mean, that can show up as, it can show up where it's right here in your face in a 7 year. It can be, isolating oneself. So you want to watch out for these things: isolation, lack of motivation, and even overthinking or shutting yourself off. And what to look out for as an opportunity can be spiritual growth and intuitive power, spiritual gifts, where you are able to really go in and build a new sense of confidence within who you are. Strengthen your spiritual self and create a newfound sense of purpose this year. If you felt like you've been just merely existing, the 7 personal year wakes you up to your soul self and kind of gives you another chance to say, am I aligned with my soul's purpose, with my soul's passion? Do I feel good about who I am, about where I'm going in life? So a lot of deep contemplation this year. But also life slows down. So you can go inward this year and you want to seek deeper meaning. So you may be engaging in study, you may be tapping into metaphysics or learning about tarot or astrology or any spiritual tools. This is a year where you want to understand yourself deeper. Now, the 7 year can feel quite mystical. This can also be a year of miracles. This can be a year of spiritual awakening, dreams, psychic development. So really lean into that spiritual vibe if you are in a 7 year. Watch out for cynicism, skepticism, escapism, and even resistance to solitude here in some way. So sometimes we need our personal space, but we feel like we don't have it or we can't get it in some way. Now lean into journaling, meditating, self-study, and allowing yourself to rest and to dream and to discover, who you are on a soul level. And it's a great year to meet your spirit guides. Okay. So for those of you in a 7 year, tell me, drop it below. How are you activating these deep spiritual energies within yourself this year? I would love to hear. All right. For those of you in an 8 personal year, this is the year of abundance and power. Think of the Strength card in tarot. The Strength card is all about empowerment, and it's about facing our fears. So the theme is around money, leadership, empowerment, and manifestation. Now the challenges in an 8 year. So think of 2024 globally. We were in an 8 year. There were themes around money, right? And we're still seeing this playing out, but we've seen a lot of it last year in that 8 energy. Power plays, power struggles, leadership changes, empowerment, challenges around control. Now, that was, again, the global energy, but for those of you that are in a personal year number 8, you're seeing this play out for you in some way or another. But there's also a beautiful opportunity in your 8 year for financial growth. Financial growth influences and karmic rewards because you've stepped into more of your confidence as well. So there's definitely a manifesting energy. And when you think of the strength card in tarot, oftentimes you will see the infinity symbol above the lion, right? And so there's something here about you manifesting your dreams by being courageous this year, especially when it comes to career and finances and wealth and abundance. Now, this is a high stakes, high rewards year. You're called to step into your authority and build something of value. Money and business themes come up strongly for you in an 8 year, and success is attainable with focus and integrity. So a lot of you may see that career changes happen in your 8 year. So if that is you, drop it below. Let me know what is changing here for you. Now watch out for greed. Okay, watch out for greed, power struggles, workaholism, or even fear-based decisions, because we feel fear or we feel maybe even manipulated at times, or self-doubt when it comes to our profession or our work. We can even fall into imposter syndrome. Now lean into confidence and leadership. Lean into, ambition, because again, high stakes, high risk, but you're going to get high rewards. So definitely a year of manifestation for you, Soul Tribe. And lastly, personal year number 9. Now, remember, we are also in a global energy of 9. So this is extra for those of you in a personal and global year number 9. This is an amplified energy. Think of a master number, right? The energy is extra for those of you in a 9 year. 9s are all about completion, right? Release, letting go, to prepare for your next 9 year cycle. So this year you will find themes of endings, surrender, transformation, and globally as well, we're seeing these themes play out all around us. Now the challenges can be grief, loss, or clinging to the past. A lot of times we'll see towers taking place here in a 9 year, as well as the 5 year, a lot of change, right? But this is also about emotional liberation. It's about spiritual closure and preparing again for a brand new cycle. So for those of you that are in a 9 year, this is the final year in the cycle that brings conclusion and it brings reflection. So a lot of endings occurring for you. It could be the end of a relationship. It could be retirement. Perhaps it's graduation. You may have completed, a degree. It reminds me of the world energy here. So it's also about closing chapters, healing karma, tying up loose ends. It can feel like a nostalgic at times in your 9 year, because you may be reflecting on the past and there may be memories that show up. But remember this, that letting go is the medicine. Letting go is the antidote. It's a time of emotional release, forgiveness, and preparing for rebirth. So also like the death energy also in tarot, endings and beginnings. Watch out for resistance to change. Watch out for emotional fatigue or avoiding closure, right? We tend to avoid, like we hang on to the tower, right? The tower is crumbling down, but we hang on because we want to hang on to any sort of scrap of evidence of the past. We do this subconsciously and even consciously at times, but I feel like it is so important for you to embrace change the best that you can with open arms this year. Now, lean into surrender. Lean into healing rituals and honoring what was. So if you can take a look at the past and say, all right, yeah, I've gone through that. That was difficult. That was challenging. That was stressful. But I've become stronger because of it. I have grown, I have matured, I have leveled up because of what I have gone through. So that is an overview of the personal year numbers. So again, if you want to go back and look at certain years that you were in and see how those themes may have reflected in your world, or if you want to look into the future a bit and see what's playing out for you. It can really give you hope. It can bring you encouragement. And again, I would love to hear what your personal year number is, Soul Tribe, and how it resonates with you. So I hope you found this session helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Lots of love to you all.